Right. Okay, Councillor Pearson, over to you.
All right. Good evening, everybody. And can I ask that all councillors are polite and courteous at all times, please? Thank you. So we can start the meeting. We'll start with apologies for absence.
Yes, Chairman, I have one apologies for absence. That's from Councillor Doris Turner, who's unwell at the moment. Council wish to approve that apology?
Approved.
I'm just admitting someone else. Okay, that's fine, thank you. Other absences will be unapproved. Okay, thanks for that. Item 2, declarations of interest. Looking around, can someone speak up if they do have any, please? I can't see everyone simultaneously.
I can't see anybody. No.
Right, that looks like a no to me. Thanks for that. Item 3 is public participation.
Members of the public wishing to speak?
Chairman, what is that time scale?
We usually allow 30 minutes. Do we agree that we still allow 30 minutes for the public?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Yeah.
On the proviso, Madam Mayor, that if more is required, the council can take a view on it after 30 minutes.
Okay. Right, over to members of the public.
Can't see anybody at the moment. Oh, but sorry, Billy. Yes, sorry.
Emma Ovington as well, Chairman.
Billy, do you want to go ahead then, Emma? You're on mute, Billy.
Sorry, am I unmuted now?
You're unmuted now, yeah.
I thought we were going to get some a presentation off the head teacher and stuff as well, but just a couple of points that I'd like to make from last night. The planning meeting, obviously it's well publicised now about the sheer amount of asbestos that's currently in Hetton Primary School. I think it's an absolute disgrace, if I'm being truthful. Why we would even consider endangering anyone. Not much more I can really see on that. Just thank you to Councillor Heron. He spoke up for the plans last night. I just wish you'd told all the members of the public the truth from day one. You didn't back our nursery cause. People respect honesty, but fair play to you. You turn up every meeting, so respect where it's due, I suppose. And also, is people aware that Sunderland City Council is spending £4 million on furniture for the new civic centre, and yet they're shutting our nursery? £4 million. And I'm ill as a dog, and that's all I've got to say on about it. But I'm sure there'll be more details to follow. £4 million, put our kids in porta cabins. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Billy. Town Clerk?
Yeah, just in response to Mr. Finch's query there, we don't have an on-screen presentation this evening, but item 4 does facilitate the head teacher, Ruth Williamson, to give us a campaign update.
Emma, I believe you wanted to speak.
Hiya, yeah, mine's not a question or anything like that, because we've been through that in the past. I didn't really get an opportunity to present in the Bridget Phillipson meeting, and I'm aware of, I've sent this out to Councillor Farthing, and Alan Rowan, who responded straight away. But I just thought I'd go through a couple of the things that the parents and staff have collectively put together as a financial option out of this. Because I know it was stated that during the informal consultation, there wasn't any other financial option given, so therefore they proceeded. So one of the things that we, well, I work closely with the nursery on and just mentioned, and they said it's absolutely doable, was raising the hourly rate in line with the rest of the nurseries in Hetton, from £4.50 to £5 an hour, and how much that will bring in. When Ruth and our team looked at this, it wouldn't be any different to Hetton Lions provision. It wouldn't be any different to the private provision in the middle of Hetton. It would put the nursery absolutely in line with them. It would mean that they would bring in 17,436 extra a year, just by upping at 50 pence an hour. So that would more than cover the projected in-year deficit in the proposal, which is 2021-22 at 11,493. So actually it will put them in a really good position. There will be 5,000 over. As well as that, I also kind of spoke to a number of parents already who are wanting to up their hours going into next year, particularly those who are moving into main nursery. A lot of people have also come to me and said, you know, I really want my child to go there in September. Will that have any impact on it? Because I know they're on about numbers. So I just wanted to put that forward for those people who had said that they do want to take the child there, or they certainly want to look at upping their hours. The other thing I looked at as well was regarding the new builds. It was brought up during the Hetton primary consultation that one of the reasons for the extension is the new builds in the area, the proposed one at Cragdale Gardens and the Bramble Rise, I think it is, up the road. Yet it's not being taken into consideration for our proposal. The Blossom Park is 1.2 miles away up the road. It's literally up Hetton Downs, which is going to be another 100 houses. So again, really the only place for those children to go to.
We've lost her.
I've lost her, I'm afraid.
We've lost her.
I'll just keep an eye on the waiting room, see if she wants to rejoin.
Okay. Is there any other members of public wanting to speak while we're waiting for, in case Emma comes back? Doesn't look like it at this moment. Yes, Councillor Elvin.
Madam Mayor, could I just take the opportunity to remind members of the public that there's going to be no suspension of standing orders this evening. So this is the only
chance I've got to speak.
The only chance I've got to speak. So if they really want to speak on the subject, now is the time to do it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
The message from Natalie.
Somebody from Natalie.
She's coming back on her.
Hi there. Am I okay to speak now?
Who's this, Natalie?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, because we're waiting. Still waiting. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Sorry, I've missed a couple of meetings. I just really wanted to sort of put across my side of things as well and say how sort of disgusted I am really at the asbestos thing. I've only actually just seen Billy's video before coming on to this group. It's really concerning. My daughter's really poorly. She's got chest problems and obviously she's got to get open heart surgery very soon. And I just don't think it's good enough. I think it's absolutely terrible. I just think that, oh, sorry, she's just woke up. Go in there, sweetheart. I just think there's got to be something else that we can do to sway these councillors into actually realising that it's such a terrible idea to even think about proposing to close the nursery. It's really upsetting us, to be honest. I just think that there's got to be more that we can do in order to try and push forward with this, especially from a special educational needs point of view as well. There's no other sort of private nurseries that would provide the same level of care that my daughter actually gets at a mainstream nursery. And the concern for me is if I have other children, which I am planning to do in the future, I wouldn't want to send my child anywhere else. I wouldn't want to send them to private in case we have a very similar issue. So that's all I really want to sort of say on it at the moment. Just this, you know, I think it's such a terrible idea, and it's putting children's lives in danger. Asbestos is a really sort of toxic thing to even sort of to sort of I can't even think of the word. To sorry, I'm getting myself really
It's all right.
up.
Don't just take your time. You're okay. To sort of, I'm trying to think of the word.
Give us a new for the kids.
Yeah, to sort of, yeah, to have to sort of expose the kids to. That's the word I'm looking for, to expose the kids. And yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say on the matter. I just, you know,
That's lovely. Thanks very much, Natalie. Thank you.
thanks.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak?
Sorry, Chairman, Emma's back now.
Emma's back, right? Okay, Emma.
I'm so sorry. I wouldn't care. I've turned my work laptop off and gone on my old one that's not working. Typical. Yeah, like I was saying, I think if we're going to go off Sunderland City Council saying that new housing brings in more children, then of course the development up at Blossom Park needs to be considered for ours as well, bringing in more children. And of course, really, the idea that I sent to Councillor Fadden and Alan Rowan as well about the fundraising effort, which at the minute we're averaging about 1,000 a week. I think we're up to 2,168 in 12 days. It's quite phenomenal. Bearing in mind we're in the middle of COVID. But it was what I was trying to say to them is if they just give us a chance to promote the nursery. I mean, I know I've spoken to Ruth and she's still getting people coming through the door even now. Of course, the more we're talking about it, the more it's getting out there. People are realising the nursery's there because it's safe and set back. So promotion gains more numbers. And of course, that means a bigger contribution to the lump sum, etc., etc. So I think it was just, again, just pointing out that with a big push from residents, staff, parents, the local council, that we could really promote this nursery and gain those numbers in the door. And of course, the fact that it was the 75th anniversary for the nursery last year, we couldn't celebrate it because of COVID. If COVID ends this year, we absolutely can. We could throw a massive street party like it would have been when it opened in 1945 post-war, and we could make a big deal and a big show and dance about it, all of which, again, will bring in numbers, bring in more money, which, of course, are what the council are aiming for. So I just wanted to put that forward to you all. Thank you. And sorry about the internet.
That's all right. Thank you, Emma. That's lovely. Thank you.
Well,
Anyone else? Doesn't look as though there's anyone, any hands up, or and I can't see anybody on the chat facility.
Mr. Finch again.
Yeah, Mr. Finch, sorry. Yeah.
Hiya there. I'm not gonna bore you. I just didn't realise that we were only gonna have kind of this meeting to finish our views off as such. Just to clarify with Natalie, because I'm sure you'll all agree, she sounded absolutely terrified in relation to the asbestos. The video I made earlier on was in no way intended to scare anyone. As it stands now, the asbestos that's currently in Hetton Primary School is classified as a medium risk. It only ever becomes absolutely terrifying if they start playing around with it, i.e. breaking things down and demolishing it. But I'm sure there'll be hundreds of thousands of pounds spent taking it away. You know, I think, as most of you are aware, I've kind of ranted on for the last, well, since November. And I know there's decency and respect within all our councillors of all political persuasions. Nobody takes public office in any way, shape or form to carry out this kind of action. That's my understanding of a councillor and as a politician. You know, you do it to better your community. I noticed on that, I don't know, Councillor Farthing, I think she's joined our meeting. It might be just someone impersonating or something, but I think she's there. I would just say to you personally, let the people of Hetton show you that we can turn this nursery around. To our city councillors, all we're asking for is a chance. You know, it makes no sense, you know, to move our kids onto a building site. You know, let's keep them where they're nice and safe for now. You know, you could extend this process as much as we don't want it to extend as such. You know, you could give us time, let us put the fees up, let us turn things around. You know, then you will be able to see in 10 months, 11 months, you haven't lost anything, because one, the fees will go up, they'll cover the deficit, so you're not losing any more money. The charity money's coming on amazingly, as Emma said, and a big shout out to everyone that's involved in that, because there's loads. I mean, the community, local businesses, everyone's all over it. It's absolutely unreal. So well done, people of Hetton. And yeah, I've run out of things to say, I suppose, but you know, let's just we're asking for a chance. Have a heart. This is your community, your people. You have to shop beside these people, go drinking when the pubs are finally open. You know, how are you, man? Get on board. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Does Claire Donahue wish to speak? I can see her hand up.
Hi, yeah, thank you very much. Mine was just really, oh, bear with me. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
I
yes.
thought it went up again. Sorry, I think it's the internet today. It was just really to say from, you know, a parent's point of view, you know, we do really appreciate what a lot of the councillors are doing for us. Yes, we had our meeting with our MP, but I'm sure many people who attended that meeting felt it was more of a ticket exercise than it was that we were actually listened to. I went on to kind of email Alan directly and said, look, what would it take? We've had 92% of our community say we don't want this nursery to close. And we've also said that we have a financial plan. All we're asking for is a chance for our children who've already been through a year of disruption, not to have to go to another setting, perhaps just for a year, and then have to go on to their reception classes. We want some stability for our children. It's a year, it'll cost them nothing, and it will mean the most to us and our children, who are really, some of them, quite unsettled because of COVID. They've seen no other adults. Some of these children, they've seen no other children to play with. I had a meeting about my daughter this week, and I couldn't tell the doctors how she plays with other children because she's not allowed to do that outside of nursery. I just want her to have another year with her peers and her friends at nursery to get over the effects of COVID on her social skills. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Geddes, were you just applauding, or did you want to? Yeah. Okay. Right. Is there anyone else? Doesn't look like there's anyone else. Is that the end of public participation? Certainly looks like it.
Madam Mayor,
can I chip in,
there's
sorry?
Leanne, Ashley and Sazine, something or other, who's got their hands up, if you hadn't noticed.
They mustn't be, they're not on my screen, Councillor.
Chairman, we've
Lauren
got, as
Butler.
Councillor Alvin says, we've got Sazzy.
Yeah, they must have just come on, and Leanne, have you? Yes. Sorry, I can see you now. Yeah, and Sazzy wants to come on as well.
Leanne.
So Leanne first.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to take advantage of the chance to speak, obviously with Councillor Farthing listening. So obviously, I've mentioned many times before that I'm come across as a SEN parent. So I kind of described really what the nursery did for my little boy, and so I feel like it's my obligation to come on here and let everybody know that the service that they offer is just absolutely fantastic. So my little boy, when he started the nursery, he couldn't speak. He's got autism, and he was diagnosed while he was at nursery. And so obviously they've got SEN coordinator, head teacher, as you know, teacher, everything in place to deal with special educational needs. And I just think, what would have been different if I'd went to a private nursery that didn't have all these skills to help my little boy? Would he have talked later? What impact would that have had? But as it is, I chose this outstanding, fantastic nursery, and they got in place his educational healthcare plan, and had that in place to start primary school. And he just had everything in place so that he could continue to flourish like he did at nursery. Obviously, I could have sent my little girl, who is younger and currently at the nursery now, to the nursery up at Hetton Lions. That would have been easy to drop off. But I didn't. I wanted her to go to this fantastic nursery, because that's what everybody who's on this call and everybody who's in support of this nursery will tell you, that the value, the service that it offers, and that it's distinctive from every other nursery in the area. Like we say, it's set back. It's got a lovely, it's a nature garden, absolutely beautiful setting. And I just think if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because it's fantastic the way it is. And it's not even a case of it ain't broke, it's fantastic. So you can't make it any better. It's just great. And I just feel like I want to have that opportunity to say from an SEN, because it's of particular importance that you have that educational excellence, because it can make all the difference. And I think that potentially you can make savings later on, like you might need. I mean, obviously I've got no evidence of it, but it's what I think. Maybe it's a child who hasn't had that fantastic start in education at the early years setting. Maybe they would have gone on and wouldn't particularly have coped in reception or subsequent years in primary school, and needed a special educational specific school, autism specific school, whatever particular special needs setting, rather than coping in mainstream. And that's something that I always think about. And that's all I want to say, really, I think, at this point.
Sassy wanted to come in to speak, and then Stacey Egan as well. So Sassy, right.
Yeah.
Whoops, she's there.
I'm trying to find good lighting. Hello, my name is Sassy, and I'm a parent of one of the former pupils at the nursery. My little boy finished last year, and he was there since he was 9 months old. And I cannot say enough how well my little boy was treated in that nursery, and how much excellent education he managed to get from the nursery. And I've been looking at these proposals to close the nursery, and I've been really upset and easily sick. I come from Zimbabwe myself, and I grew up in a very deprived area. My dad, who raised me, always said, you know, only education will get you out of here. And he said to all 7 of us, and all 7 of us are outside of the country, and it's only education that's got us where we are today. And I know for sure that the 4 years that my little boy Samuel has spent in that nursery has set him for the rest of his life, because he's enjoyed every single day of the time that he's spent in that nursery. And he's gone on to primary school with no issues whatsoever, and he's excelling going forward there. I've got an 18-year-old little boy as well. He's at university now, and he went through that because of how important I always impart on my children education is. You know, despite of where we are, we will always manage to make it because of education. So I'm really disappointed that an outstanding nursery, and one of the very few in the area, can just be shut down in favor of anything else. I really I wouldn't care what it is that it's in favor of, but I would have hoped that, especially in the Northeast, where we are quite deprived, that we would treasure these facilities that give our children hope. And I'm hoping that that will be reconsidered just for that reason only. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said.
Yeah. Stacey Egan to speak as well.
Hi, can you hear us?
Yes.
Hi, I'm governor at the nursery and have been for 4 years. I've been to all the meetings, but very rarely see anything. But I am SEN governor, and can I just say the amount of work that's been put into the nursery SEN-wise is outstanding. I've worked in education for 16 years as SEN mainly, and I've never, ever been to a mainstream nursery as its class stars with such outstanding SEN provision and such, you know, amazing staff. I've put them all through their paces, bless them, over the 4 years, and questioned them, and really at times they've probably hated us for the questions I've asked and how many things I've taught them they've got to do. And, you know, I'm constantly on at them and asking them to put new interventions in place, and it's always been done from day one. My little girl started there 5 months old. She was extremely tiny. I'm sure Ruth will remember, she was the smallest I think they had. And she left just before school. And she's now classed as a gifted and talented child at her local primary school. Now, we live in Durham, we don't live in Hetton. And I chose to go to Hetton because of the outstanding nursery that it is. And my daughter's school often comment on how her nursery provision is the best they've ever come across, because she was so advanced when she got to school. I would like to say a big thanks to the staff for that. And I think yous are all wonderful. And I'd really like to thank the public and all of the councillors for the support we are getting. It really does mean a lot to us. We couldn't do it without everybody's support. I'm sure we'll continue to fight it, and I'm determined we're not going to go down without a fantastic fight. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else wishing to speak? Can't see anyone, but that's no guarantee because I missed the last 3.
Chairman, I'm just having a look across the screen.
You have a look as well, please. I can't see anyone else.
I think you're right. No, there's nothing. I'll just check the chat box again. Something just appeared. No.
Oh, okay. Can we move on now from public participation? Item 4.
Yeah, Chairman, if I can just make a couple of comments before we get into item 4. It was just to give a couple of brief updates on queries that have been raised at previous meetings. The first aspect is that I think it was the December meeting, a member asked that if the nursery school was closed, if the Hetton Town Council would be able to step in and run it. I have taken advice from a professional body on this topic. Sorry, just joining us. And we don't have the powers to run a nursery school. So that's the clear advice that I've had from the professional body. And the other aspect is that we've also had a query about possible financial help to the school. And again, we have some limited powers under what's called Section 137 of the Local Government Act. And we have invoked those that section, most notably in the run-up to Christmas, when we gave some money to help with community organisations in the COVID crisis in the run-up to Christmas. But it's what's known as the power of last resort. And whilst we could potentially use that, it would be in the form of a grant and not a power to run an educational facility. And again, the advice I've had is that we can't use money of that nature to effectively subsidise or prop up facility, I'm afraid. So it was just 2 points to bring to members' attention, because they had been raised previously, and I have followed those up.
Okay.
So, Councillor Pearson, so we're on item 4 now, and the first part of this item is for with Williamson, the head teacher, just to give us a brief campaign update.
The proposal of Sunderland City Council to discontinue. Or is that 4A? 4A, yeah, 4B. Yeah, I'm with you now.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi everybody, it's Christine Collins, Chair of Governors. Ruth asked me just to start off with the campaign update, and then she'll join in later on. But can I just say before I start, I would just like to say on the Governor's behalf and Ruth's behalf that we couldn't have done this without the support of the councillors. It's been absolutely amazing, and the support of all our parents and all the friends out there who have just absolutely, I don't know how to describe how I feel about it. It's just unheard of, I think, is the word for the support that we've had. So that's the passionate part over. Now I'm going to go into the dry stuff about the campaign. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with just some facts that you probably all know, but we're just going to sort of just revisit those. The pre-consultation closed on the 14th of February. There was an amazing response of 541, and 92% of those were against the closure of Hetton Nursery School. I think we've had some idea of, well, we do know some of the premise of the responses through the proposal, but I think we'll see the full detail of that when we get the full pack that goes to the School Organisation Committee Cabinet. The decision was made by Cabinet.
Cheer me up. Happy Mother's Day. We've got somebody on. That was shut off. Can you turn your mic off, please? Thank you. Okay, go ahead again. Sorry.
That's okay. So just thank you to everybody who was responded. It was absolutely amazing. The decision's been made by Cabinet to move forward to the statutory consultation on the 9th of February. And 5 days before the that was 5 days before the pre-consultation closed. So we're aware that not all responses received were taken into consideration during that decision-making session, but we're hoping that the additional responses that have come in since then will be added to the package that will go to the School Organisations Committee Cabinet. The statutory representation period runs from the 22nd of February until March the 21st. There was a little hiccup with that, but getting online. But that has been sorted, and the hours that were missed have been extended on. The Schools Organisation Committee Cabinet meeting is provisionally booked for the 8th of April, and a decision will be made then on the future of the nursery. And we're not giving up the fight, as you all, as everybody can see how passionate we are until the absolute last moment. It's been acknowledged in documented meetings that the financial vulnerability of the nursery is not due to any mismanagement of funds, but due to the methodology behind the funding formula and the unavoidable costs associated with a maintained nursery school. And that is, every maintained nursery school has the same costs of a head teacher, a person who's qualified in SEND, so that they can give the best possible chances to all children. And also a little bit for the premises and rates. The local authority hasn't shared any information with nurseries or governors what other options were considered. There's a little bit of sort of cross purposes in that one, because we had a meeting at the very beginning with Alan, Ruth and myself, with Alan and Amanda way back in, I'll just get my date, on the 20th of September, and we clearly asked him then what other options had been considered, and he said to us at that point that no other alternatives had been considered. But then in our meeting with Bridget, something must have changed since then, because he said that all other options had been considered and that none were viable. So we have written to Alan asking to clearly outline what options had been considered and why it was chosen not to proceed with any of them. So we're waiting for that information to come. We are not alone in this financial vulnerability. The implication of the early years funding formula is now impacting across the wider maintained nursery school sector. Financial benchmarking data reveals that in the last 2 years, the numbers of maintained nursery schools in Sunderland ending the year with a deficit balance is on the increase. In the year 2018 to 19, 4 out of 8 of the maintained nursery schools ended the year with a deficit in-year balance. And then last year, 2019 to 20, 5 out of the maintained nursery schools ended the year with a deficit in-year balance. The reserves that some nurseries have managed to make a bank of reserves, but those reserves are diminishing as the maintained nursery schools are having to endure funding shortfalls each year. And this paints a very big picture for all the nursery schools across the setting. Prior to changes to the early years funding formula, the additional financial support mechanism was referred to as a lump sum. And this lump sum was a specific set amount that was given to each setting, regardless of numbers of children in the setting, to cover those specific requirements of all maintained nurseries. So whether you've got a setting that has a large number of roll or a setting with a small number of roll, you've still got those costs and you still need that lump sum. Following changes in the funding formula, the lump sum was allocated per capita, which would obviously have a significant impact on smaller settings. The maintained nursery settings argued for a methodology where the total sum of money was divided equally between all settings, as all settings have the same specific requirements. It's been highlighted earlier that the growing impact of the new early years funding formula, with more settings over the last 2 years having a deficit in year balance. If Hetton Hall Nursery were to close, the lump sum fund for the remaining nurseries would be minus the per capita amount generated by our nursery. And when you actually deduct this from the overall sum and divided by the 7 nurseries that would be remaining, it amounts to not a very significant amount at all, certainly one that wouldn't protect the vulnerability of the settings in the years to come, especially in the light of COVID and the financial impact of that. The lump sum is based upon the first 15 hours of every child on roll, and since the introduction of the 30 hours working parent funding, the nursery has not received the additional lump sum money for the additional 15 hours. If children take a 30-hour place, it reduces the number of children on roll accessing 15-hour places, and Hetton Hall Nursery on average has 58% of children accessing the 30-hour places and is therefore disadvantaged by the current funding formula for the lump sum. A Freedom of Information request was submitted to Sunderland City Council with regard to early years funding and inclusion funding, and Ruth is going to now take over and she's going to talk about this part. Okay, so I'll pass you over to Ruth.
Thank you, Christine. Thanks. So the council are arguing that we have a deficit of up to 170,000 that they do not have the capacity to clear, and they cannot financially support us moving forward, and that we are destabilising the other maintained nurseries because of our lower contribution and higher outtake of the lump sum, which Christine's just explained. The main reason put forward for this closure is a financial one. And it appears that from our Freedom of Information request that there are significant underspends in both budgets year on year. So in relation to funding for every child, there was an underspend of 1.3 million in 2017-18 by Sunderland City Council. And there was also an underspend of 933,000 in 2018-19, and a similar underspend of 938,000 in 2019-20. In total, over the last 3 years, there has been an underspend of £3,201,000 by Sunderland Local Council. Why can't additional funds that are clearly not required year on year be used to fully support all maintained nursery schools who are currently underfunded and clear our carrying forward deficit? Our deficit is so insignificant against the levels of reserves that are currently held. Early years inclusion funding, which is also a vital stream of funding, which is placed to support children in the early years who have special educational needs or disability, was another aspect that we asked for some freedom of information. Maintained nursery schools do not receive a notional SEND budget like primary schools. The funding is gained through an application basis, which has often been very challenging to achieve. The lack of allocation has meant that maintained nursery schools have used up their ever-shrinking budgets in order to enable children with special and additional needs to engage with the EYFS curriculum. Each year, there has been significant underspends in the council's inclusion funding budget, and such underspends have resulted in a direct impact on the budget and survival of all of the nursery schools in Sunderland. In total, over the past 3 financial years, Sunderland City Council has had a surplus of £813,154 out of a budget of 1.5 million for children with SEND. This has resulted in a 54% underspend. If there is no requirement for the full budget allocation, why can the council not allocate a notional budget for SEN to maintain nursery schools who are required to meet specific legal requirements for SEN provision as a maintained nursery school? So to summarise, in total, Sunderland City Council have had a £4,014,000 underspend in the last 3 years in both of those budgets. We are really unclear of the justification behind the proposal to close our nursery school on financial grounds when we are the only outstanding nursery school in Hetton and there are surplus funds. Why can the council not save our nursery? And that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopper, did you want to speak or?
Please, Madam Mayor. I'm just trying to find the word. I don't want to use shocked or disappointed, although it's sort of my limited vocabulary encapsulates all that about the underspend. I've just been doing a little bit of reading this afternoon myself, and I received a message about the special grant of £8 million that Sunderland Council received. And it was basically for events and businesses to help them out with grants and this, that, and the other. But we all know that they can pretty much spend the money on whatever they want because we've seen evidence of it before. And if I'm questioned on it, I can produce it. £8 million received, and they've only paid out 19% of that grant. Is this saying something about Sunderland City Council? You know, we've got a nursery here. I don't want a chance for this nursery. I want them to come out and say that they're going to support it and keep it open. I don't want a chance for a year. I don't want to go through this again. I want it open. So anyway, that's all I've got to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Do we want to go on to item 4B? Mr. Clerk, Town Clerk.
Let's give me a moment.
I don't see anyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
4B, this is just a part of the agenda for the council to have a discussion and really formulate and agree a response to the proposal.
Okay, anyone wishing to speak? Councillor Elvin and then Councillor Waterston. Elvin? Oh, you're not on mute.
I'm having problems. Could Councillor Waterston go first, please,
Right.
Madam Mayor?
Okay, yeah, okay, Councillor Waterston.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. First of all, I just want to say how impressed I am again with the parents. The testimony of these people it's heart-rending, it really is, and I had to control myself throughout the speeches. I think that again they need to be applauded. I think the headmistress and the staff should be applauded. And all I want to say is that I think it's just shame on Sunderland City Council, and that's all I can come up with, because you're giving them all these facts and figures. There's ways around this, and they're not prepared to budge. They're not wanting to discuss how they could save this nursery. I just don't understand why they're hell-bent on closing a nursery that is so well thought of, it's producing the goods. Why can we not have more consultation and more thought on how they can work through this? Why has this nursery got to close? And I would also like to know, there's another question I would like to ask them, is what, if they do go ahead with this, what's this building, what's this educational use that they're going to put the building to once they've closed the nursery? I'm curious to know that. But all in all, again, I think it's profit before people with Sunderland City Council, and shame on them. Thank you.
Elvin, are you ready now? Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Madam Mayor, with your permission, I've obviously been following everything keenly over weeks, months, and I have a suggested proposal here for the councils. We have to put something in writing to Sunderland City Council, and it's basically an 8-point proposal, which I will submit as a formal proposal shortly. Can you still hear me? Because I think my picture's frozen.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay. My suggestion is to the council is as follows. Hetton Town Council objects to Sunderland City Council proposal to close the Ofsted rated excellent Hetton Nursery School, which was established 75 years ago. The council is of the opinion that the case they have outlined is not substantiated. 1. Maintained nursery schools are required to provide high quality early education led by specialist teachers and delivered by quality teachers, especially in deprived areas, and to put parents and families at the centre of their work. Department of Education guidance November 2019 states the decision maker should give the greatest weight to response from those stakeholders likely to be most directly affected by a proposal, especially parents of children at the affected school. The decision makers are expected to adopt a presumption against the closure of a maintained nursery school. This has not been complied with. Point 2. Sunderland City Council has permitted and encouraged unfair competition by allowing numerous private nurseries to undercut state schools by insisting that state schools are required to have higher qualified staff and meet the costs of being a school, but only provide them with the same level of funding as the private and voluntary providers. The council is effectively privatising nursery education by the back door. The council, point 3, has been derelict in its duties by not involving and discussing with the school governors, residents, families, and Hetton Town Council possible ways to overcome the difficulties of falling roll numbers and the associated reduction in income because of unfair competition permitted by them. It's been acknowledged in documented meetings that the financial vulnerability of the nursery is not due to mismanagement of funds, but due to the methodology behind the funding formula and the unavoidable costs associated with maintained nursery schools. Point 4, the council has not provided any COVID-19 relief funds to the school, despite having received many millions from central government. In total, over the last 3 years, there was an underspend of £4,014,000 for early years funding and inclusion funding. Why has this additional funding not been provided for the nursery and other maintained nurseries to clear any outstanding deficits to ensure these much needed nurseries are adequately funded? Point 5, the budget forecast is inaccurate. The toddlers are at 97% capacity and the baby room is in a similar position. Interest for enrolment for September 2021 is high. With toddlers moving up, this will allow more places for this much in demand service. New developments close by, such as Blossom Park, identified by Sunderland City Council as a source for new intake, coupled with other nursery plans as published in their recent PowerPoint presentation, are likely to increase the numbers by the minimum required to eliminate the projected deficit. Point 6, the council referred to the uplift given to the nursery for the reason for at least one other school going to deficit, while maintaining that all maintained nurseries receive the additional financial support through an agreed formula. This is a deliberate distortion of the facts. In the funding year 2019-20, 5 out of 8 maintained nursery schools ended up in a year with a deficit balance. Point 7, Hetton Town Council believes on the grounds of physical, mental and emotional health, as well as safety, that it is inconceivable that the council is considering transferring these young and vulnerable children into temporary demountable classrooms for a period of possibly up to 3 years, whilst at the same time reconfiguring the asbestos-ridden existing building. We have not been provided with the costing, but investigations would suggest that it will cost around £50,000 plus VAT a year to rent them. We believe this money should be allocated towards any deficit for the foreseeable future, and during this interim period, the council should undertake proactive work with all interested parties to ensure the future success of Hetton Nursery School. And the final point is 8, Hetton Town Council is concerned about the legality of the council cabinet meeting taking the decision to move forward to a statutory consultation 5 days before the pre-consultation closed, as this did not permit all responses to be considered. Madam Mayor, I'd like to suggest that that is a fair précis of all that has been said by all the parents, governors and interested parties, and I would like to suggest that that forms a basis of our response to Sunderland City Council. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Well said, Councillor Elvin.
Do we have a seconder for that? Yeah,
I'll second that. I'll second that.
Councillor Rowe?
Chairman, just want me.
Yes, thank you. Before, sorry, I agree totally with everything, but I just wondered if there was a possibility of including one other thing in that. We've had 12 months of lockdown. Everything's been stopped. The elections have been stopped. All sorts of games, the Olympics, everything. If the world can stop all these things, why can't Sunderland City Council, because of COVID, at least delay this potential closure by 12 months? And I think that should go in as well. So I would suggest I can't think of the word. I'm having a senior moment.
Are you suggesting an amendment to what I've suggested?
An amendment to also include COVID, yes.
Madam Mayor, I thought I had included that, but if this, whatever the council wishes, I'm happy to go along with.
If you did include it, Councillor Elvin, could you point it out to me, because I can't see it?
I think it was covered in various points, Councillor. Insofar as I mentioned the health and well-being of the children, emotional and mental health, and I mentioned the fact that they've not provided any COVID-19 relief funds. But if you have, I'd say, put forward a suggested wording for an addition and let the council decide. I'm happy.
Okay, can we? Yes, any other councillors? Councillor Geddes?
Could I just ask Councillor Elvin why has some got that sheet and I haven't?
What sheet?
Haven't got it.
The one that your partner's got.
Well,
what sheet is what sheet is my part? Councillor
You're-
Heron, could you
you're-
clarify me what sheet that my partner has that you haven't got? I am not aware of whatever
statement what
paperwork.
you've just read.
She hasn't got a copy of it, sir.
haven't got
Well,
any
that isn't what
copies
you
of it.
put on the
I haven't
screen.
either.
We haven't got any.
Thank you. Okay,
Yes.
I'll accept that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think an inclusion of a paragraph such as, particularly as we've had a COVID lockdown for 12 months, something like that. I don't know if the town clerk can help me out there.
I'm just listening to the discussion at the moment.
Okay. So Councillor Hopper, and then we'll quickly see perhaps we can have a vote on it. Councillor Geddes after that.
Just quickly, 2 points. First of all, Councillor Rome, where mostly I agree with you. I don't want, do you know what it is? The timing of negotiation is finished with. We need to keep that school open. I'm not bothered about 12 months. It's got to stop open. They've had their time to come back to us and say, oh, this will do that. We want to demand that school stops open. And secondly, Councillor Heron, do your own homework. Bring your own proposals there. Don't ask for the people's. Thank you.
Mr. Heron was just asking if that they had paperwork, which we
I believe
didn't
I
have.
was civil there. I was just saying that I believe Councillor Elvin has done a lot of work on that proposal.
Yes, he has.
I haven't even seen it.
No, we haven't. Okay, Councillor Geddes.
Yeah, just a couple of observations, particularly comment to Councillor Farben. Why is it that Hetton Nursery have had to go for a freedom of information request? Surely all that information that they've struggled to have got should have been made available to everybody, you know, and I'm sure Ruth and the governor's figures are spot on. I think, you know, shame on Sunderland Council, shame on you, because what is this? What is this proposal to close Hetton Nursery? Is it punitive towards Hetton? Is it a political decision? I don't know. But, you know, you cannot put a cost on children's education, and shame on it. Shame on you. Keep the nursery open.
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. I'd just like to withdraw my proposal to change that. This is very important. What Councillor Elvin has said, I do think encapsulates 99.9% of all the objections that have been made by the teachers, the parents, the community, everybody. And I'd just like to second his proposal, and I think we should go for a vote.
We go for a vote now, Town Clerk?
Yes.
The proposal? Yeah.
We had
On
a
the proposal.
Sorry, Councillor Elvin proposed his 8 points. That was seconded by.
I think it was Councillor Geddes originally.
Councillor Geddes did it first, and then Councillor Rowan came. Yeah.
So if you're happy for me to do so, I'll just go around the screen and get yea or nay from each member, if that's okay. Again, just as the members are shown on my screen, Councillor Waterson.
Agreed.
Councillor Pearson.
Agreed.
Councillor Elvin.
Agreed.
Councillor Rome.
Agreed.
Councillor Dafty.
Agreed.
Councillor Geddes.
Agreed.
Councillor Willis.
Agreed.
Councillor Hopper.
Agreed.
Councillor Herron.
Agreed.
Didn't write down much, sorry. I'm not quite finished. I'm just going on to the next screen. Councillor Coulson.
Agreed.
Councillor Dodds out. Oh, she's there.
Agreed.
I'm just going to add my numbers up, make sure I haven't missed anyone. Stick with me. Yeah, that's everyone. That's carried.
Madam Mayor, if it suits the Town Clerk, I can send him now a copy of that so that he can then circulate as he wishes to other members, or if the council gives me permission, I can submit it to other members, but I'll send it to the Town Clerk immediately.
Thank you, Councillor Elvin.
Chairman,
May I just say, Madam Mayor, that it's wonderful to see everybody come together, and I sincerely hope that if we continue fighting the good fight, we will eventually prevail.
Okay.
Chairman, Councillor Elvin, that would be helpful to have the detail of that, and I will then formulate it into the Town Council's formal response to the consultation process. Thank you. Madam Mayor, I think we're done.
I was just going to say, I think that's the end of the meeting. I'd like to thank everybody for attending tonight, everyone that spoke and everybody that's attended. Thank you all.
Well done all, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Thanks everyone. Thanks to
Good
members.
night all. All the best.
Members of the public.
Take care.
I'm going to stop the recording now and close the meeting down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.